to talk more and to disseminate information. What role actually you can play in the processes of internet governance, also the infrastructure of the internet itself. We hope that today will truly become interesting for you and efficient. Maybe find something interesting, something catchy. And I really hope that you'll have this person join our next Youth IGF, and that will definitely take place in 2021, and we'll be able to build a more powerful and integral system for the youth in Ukraine. Build this network, show the role, and do something for our voice to be heard finally. First, before we actually come to our next part, I'd like to pass the floor to the welcoming word to our guests. They're truly important for us, and every year they help us every year, and they are also part of our event, and we're so grateful to them. So, first, I'll pass the floor to, let's see, representative of such important organization. Alexei, please. If you are here, please, we'd like actually to see you, the IPCC representative. So, we can hear you and even can see you. Hi, if you do allow me, I will be, I'll use Russian, I'll be a little bit slower. The Ukrainian, I represent the IPCC organization, which is the internet registrator in our region, 76 countries of Europe and partially Asia. But the registration function, so the function of distribution of internet resources in local registries, well, this is our technical function, and the mission of organization is to support the stable and sustainable functioning of internet in our region. And we actually do a lot, try to grow our capacity, to do even more than we do. So in this area, and of course, apart from some technical things, some technical stuff, we have loads of them. I will not even try to list all of them. We also have this essential part working with communities, and in this sense, like any community for internet governance, any forum where we have the actors of internet governance participating. So it's really important to have this platform. And in particular, youth forums are very important for internet governance. So I don't like the governance word when it comes to internet. Well, in both Ukrainian and in Russian versions, it sounds more like management and gives this feeling, you know. It's like a pressure. It's just determining something very, very strictly. So it's more like managing, like governing, like ruling. Internet governance forum is, of course, a platform, first of all, for dialogue. So it's a platform for us to look for a place, to look for joint understanding of some issues. Well, at least to one actor, it's not to say yes, not to agree, but at least to understand others, at least understand the complexity, to understand the tasks that this person has, and to actually come out with better understanding how the internet world works. Because it's really multi-aspect, it's multidimensional multidimensional space, we can say, the whole universe. So we do a lot for that. We take part in all internet governance forums elsewhere, where we are invited, of course. So it's usually a great take part in that. So we're so glad to provide any kind of material for them and give some programs which are beyond the framework of IGF, especially the Youth IGF. As Youth IGF is marked with this feature, it has second mission. It has second important idea, educational. It's an educational platform. We do not need it just to orient people who are students of educational establishments today. We want them to express their opinions, of course, but this is truly important. This is truly important to express yourself, but apart from that, it's also important to tell them actually basically what prerequisites are there, how actually it all was developing and how it works right now, and history and modern development. So we do not limit ourselves to this event. We also have other activities in this area. Once again, this is a very important interaction, and it's very important to hear you. And we really want you to take something from us, have some lessons learned for all our efforts, not just to disappear, so we really want this to function. Something to be used in the future. We really want to believe that those young people who take part in this event today, we want this only to become a starting point for them. We want them to continue interacting with internet governance and interacting with internet actors when it comes to internet functioning, because internet mostly is governed by something called the civic society. Yeah, we have this concept. And you, dear participants, are the part of the civic society. Of course, it's very important for it's important to have this process not finished today, but to continue in the future, to make it more aware of what's happening, to make your participation more to raise the awareness of your participation. So basically, this is it for me, I guess. I don't want to abuse my time, so I'm almost done. I just really want to underline. It's so nice to see the list of people registered. It's really great that you all are here. Thank you. Thank you. I'm just performing the functions that I have to. But this for you, this is voluntary. This is the most important thing that can actually happen to us. It's really, really important that you are here. And I really want to wish you to have get some good experience from this communication today, for you to have this clear understanding tomorrow, whom to talk to, how it works, who to counsel if you do have any questions. It's really something we're going to discuss today. So I pass the floor to organizers. Thank you again. Thank you. Thank you so much for these wonderful warm words. Yes, I think we cannot even present it in a better way than you did, because really, we really would like not just to tell about something, motivate young people, motivate youth to be active participants of the whole process. Simply to understand that this is not something complicated, this is not something from outer space, it's not something unclear, this is something where we'll evolve together, and number of topics that just everything relates to internet because we live in it. Yeah. So thank you again for your warm words. And the next one I look forward to will be Secretary of the IGF Forum of the Global IGF unfortunately, he has no opportunity to be present here first to personally, but for us, we actually recorded a video and I'll show it. It really shows how cool is that are not just a separate element, we are part of this huge system, huge network, and we can actually cooperate
by all the geographical regions of Ukraine. In order to coordinate it, such organizations as UN need to be involved. At the lower level, there are local and regional forums, regional organizations which control it, such as American or European. That is why every country, every region of the world and our region, Eastern Europe and also in Central Asia, there are forums of internet governance which allow to coordinate all the efforts of different stakeholders within the country. So the internet works well, so it's stable, secure, and can develop in the proper destination, in a proper direction. And so it meets the needs of also stakeholders. So all of these three steps have their own use tracks. I welcome you to take part in all of those tracks. Dialogue and proactivity are very important there. So let's choose the topic that is interesting to you. The topic where you have expertise, where you just want to express your opinion, and you will be able to get feedback and to have an exciting discussion. In addition, there are other tracks that you can take part in. You can take part in RIPE NCC organizations and in a number of other organizations. If you feel that you have the wish, you have the opportunity to take part in internet governance activities, if you have any ideas, please do get back to us and you will be able to join the efforts to get acquainted with the very basics of the internet governance process and then to take part in current projects. And believe me, this was my way. I was working at this organization before, and then I became an integral part of this organization. So it opens new exciting opportunities because the internet is much wider than our opinion of than the opinion of most people about it. So I wish you a productive day today, interesting discussions, and I hope that I will be able to be useful to you. And I hope that this event will become the very first step for your further work for the benefit of the internet all over the world. Thank you so much, and I give the floor back to the organizers. Mikhail, thank you so much for your welcome words. I would like to tell you that to support you and say that most international organizations that work with internet, they provide a lot of opportunities for the young people. This is good news for all of us. Now we are limited physically, but there are a lot of opportunities online. There are a lot of initiatives that you can join. Being at home, just working at home, just sitting in your pajama, you are able to have your say and to have an influence on what is happening in the internet. Last year, thanks to one of the organizations, I attended a forum in Berlin and became delegate of the Youth Summit. It was an exciting event, and I've got amazing experience, which motivated me to be more active, to take part in this process, and to organize such events as National Youth IGF UA. So thanks you so much once again, Mikhail. I'm really grateful to you. Okay, so right now I think that we set the right atmosphere for our next session, for our upcoming work. If you don't mind, I will switch to Ukrainian now. Right now, I suggest to continue our forum. I would like to tell you that you have access to the chat box. If during presentations of our speakers you will have comments, or you would like to ask a question, or you disagree with some of the ideas mentioned, or you think that some of those ideas are important, or you have your own opinion, you can express in the chat, or probably you can disagree, you can agree. This is very important. We would like to have feedback from all of you. We would like you to be active, to be an active part of this conversation, so everyone understands that there's very a lot of different opinions, and that's just normal. Don't miss the opportunity. Please write your message in the chat, be active, take part in the dialogue. Thank you. And I would like to start our first part of our forum telling you that when you got registered to this forum, you saw that that our questionnaire had some questions that were related to internet and to those conditions in which we are living right now. I mean, the pandemic. And that's exactly the reason why we decided to get to know how do you think, do you think that your online rights are violated during the pandemic? The results of this questionnaire were quite interesting. And I would like to discuss that right now. I would like to give the floor to Vita Volodovska, lawyer of the civil society organizations, digital security. She will tell us about the results of this survey about violations of online rights. She will elaborate on those aspects, whether we understand which rights might be violated during the pandemic. So, Vita, the floor is yours. Good morning. Thanks, organizers, for the opportunity to join us such an exciting event. Before continuing my presentation, let me remind you that you can ask your questions in the chat. I will be happy to take them after the presentation. So if we are talking about digital rights, it is very important to say that human rights have to be the basis of all initiatives that are happening in the sphere of governance, internet governance, because internet exists for the people and human rights. This is an integral part which makes our life good, and what differentiates us from other beings. We're not talking about creating a new category of human rights. All human rights have already been stipulated in international documents, pacts of civil and rights, in pacts of social rights, the Convention on Human Rights, the European Convention, which is binding for Ukraine and which shall be used by the state in their activities. So this catalog of different rights is very long. There is the right to privacy, there is the right to expression. And when we are talking about digital rights, we are talking about implementation of these key human rights, which we also have in our real everyday life. When we talk about the peculiarities of these rights, we need to think about how these rights are implemented online. When we're talking about the freedom of expression, of course, we can, for example, create and publish a newspaper, write books, talk to our friends, or implement this right in any other way in everyday life. And similarly, we can create social pages and social networks, write in internet forums, and take part in online events. So this is what we are doing right now. We have the right to express our opinion. When we are talking about privacy, we say that our property, our home is the place where we live and we can decide who can enter our house. The same goes with the internet community. Our conversations, our information shall be protected because this information belongs to us and only we can decide who can have access to it. Of course, according to the legislation, there are some exceptions about the access to information when it comes to security of the state, but there are also limitations of these rights. There are limitations when it comes to offline rights and online rights. I would like to say that there is one right, one human right, which appeared after the development of information technologies. This is the right to access of the internet, after which it will be impossible to implement all other rights.
And actually, the violation for this high quality access to the internet, there was a couple of demands when it pulled out the registration number. So two things are this. First of all, is the access to internet, but uh, this makes it fully enjoy the right itself when we have this high quality access. So if you do have very slow or like poor access to internet and you always have the interruptions, or it's really slow, then basically you cannot download like for 20 minutes and you can download something. So today we cannot consider this access to internet as a worthy one to say that your right is enjoyed. So for exercise, this we have different discussions. Like we have is this a citizen side access? It's taken as an element of the right to express opinions or beliefs without access to internet. You cannot post something, write something, cannot read information that is distributed. Uh, that's why we take it as an element of expression of opinions. The dynamics show us frankly that access to internet is a necessity. It's really a need. It's a must. Not just to distribute ideas and beliefs, and this is just an element to, of course, education. It's an integral element of this right itself. Many educational processes are right now online due to the lockdown. We all are studying remotely, so students should actually school children get high quality access to internet in order to study. So also that's necessary to exercise the right to labor because a lot of work, a lot of enterprises, also when they had this opportunity, they did the remote format. Their employees actually want to continue working to get their salary and sustenance and actually live. So therefore, you had to organize this high quality in order to do that. So the analysis of how good the coverage is from the country Ministry of Digital Transformation this summer, they did it. They performed the results analysis and supply, and results were not very nice and satisfactory because according to the results of the survey, we detected 5.5 million Ukrainians actually don't have access to high quality, high speed internet. So often private coverage, with, for example, 17,000 of villages in Ukraine, they don't have access to this high speed internet. Sorry, there's no sound. Well, if you get me, right now, I think we have some technical issues right now that has some problems. I think, well, we will try to back. So, Gita, are you there? Are you actually listening to us? Is it possible maybe to enter again or do something? This is something we're talking about. It's a good example of what we're discussing. But unfortunately, not always we have this possible that is not interrupted like this. But okay, so it's really very important because all our movements, any of our actions, especially young people, people who actually study remotely, lockdown, everyone are trying to stay closer to their homes. In order to have this remote education, you actually need to have technical capacity for it. So I can. Okay, so I pass the floor to you back. Good. And Rita, we can see you, but unfortunately, no audio. Yeah, still no sound. Rita, unfortunately, we don't have any sound. Very nice picture, anyway. Thank you for at least having the nice picture. But no sound. No sound. There's no sound. Okay. So maybe if it doesn't work well, we'll try to pass forward to following speaker, and we'll return to your speech, return to your block. A little bit later, maybe you just need to re-enter. If it doesn't work well, we'll try with the next speaker. We will definitely let you finish later, okay? Don't worry. Thank you. It is trying to re-enter, and I will try offer you another speaker. Present. I'll pick this up now. So the next speaker we're oh, ooh, yeah, right there. It's really important now. Great. I think you need to re-enter. Uh, you don't have access to microphones. We're just listening to us. Uh, that's a little bit sad. So maybe try to re-enter and give yourself a speaking power, not just listening. Okay, that'd be really good. Well, we still need to have some time. Our speaker is to enter. Just briefly, I will tell. Oh, okay. We have Nita again with us. Hi. Try. Oh, okay. This is a very good illustration. It's a very good example of how it happens on the internet. It was doing really, really great. So, tell me where exactly I started because I was so excited for re-entry and actually, yeah. We're talking the accident, and I told you that people, unfortunately, the situation in Ukraine is not satisfactory to want to. Many villages, especially, don't have this access due to the fact that it's not profitable. You know, it's not financially feasible for them to install the system for the citizens themselves. In September, Marata actually adopted law on electronic communications where it was stipulated that certain charges were provided to families who are not able, for example, paying for internet access installation and also partial compensation for providers who for the coverage and such distant territorial locations. And I think this access internet, I guess this whole thing will improve and the last point you mentioned the following, right? So, one of the violations and things for participants is the payload. Payload is now included. So it's basically a right to privacy and this is right. Surveillance, so not clarified what exactly surveillance was, but I think surveillance, but our bodies and internet, social media actually treat the surveillance in the context of pandemic at this point. Now, surveillance related to lockdown performance and some applications created elsewhere, not only in Ukraine. And the aim was actually to trace how people, how well people are sticking to these lockdown rules. What do they really fit now? A DOMA is an application that allows Ukrainians trying to trace actually those people who have COVID-19 active status, whether they are self-isolated or not. And we also information check with people who come abroad, and so that they do as they could own very well because there is no proper legislative background for this application. So, yeah, we had legislative for example, in April, a draft law was adopted. Those concept of person just uh, in context of lockdown are considered bill because so somehow trying to talk and the isolation of people. This is what and it's still intrusion, life of person, violation of not just necessary, but personal personality and their chance to feel. If you consider that someone was really why actually came our body for what exactly and how they don't and how it's things that they act we have that information published on their website we cover some of the steps and in fact I read infected with COVID actually they did not affect the things but I'm sorry sometimes they actually show the age stress on the streets, you know, it's very, very information. No one understands what then because all people started looking at each other were so concerned. Think about it, and question, you would body access to the information.
There is one more rule which became very important. Our participants didn't tell about that, but it is important to say that very few people confronted this violation. Violated because of the interest of public health. But I would like to say that these interventions must be, these violations, these limitations might be proper, and they need to correspond to the objective that the state has. For example, if this information shall be checked, whether the person is self-isolated, it can be used. But as for the information about your health, about the fact that you might have COVID, this information might be available only to some institutions, and if it is spread everywhere, it will be too much. Unfortunately, right now our app DIA doesn't give a clear answer on whether the access to all the full information that is put into this app by doctors is limited, and whether it is protected from violations or illegal access to such data. I see comments in the chat. There are questions. What can you do if some internet site doesn't provide access without your personal information? Yes, it's an excellent question. Unfortunately, it is often impossible to solve this issue at the level of the legislation. What I want to say that in general data protection regulation in the European countries, in the EU, which came into force in 2018, has seriously limited corporations when it comes to collection of data, and it removed unnecessary information which you have to give to Facebook to be able to use the basic services of Facebook, of this social network. You must have the opportunity to refuse providing this information. They cannot force you to do that. And if you don't give your consent to that, you still can use the service, basic services of the social network. Our legislation right now is less strict, is less clear in such issues, and of course we don't have huge impact on big net platforms. Though right now Ukrainian legislation is approximated to the directives of the EU. So this is happening right now. In another case, talking about whether a private company can be forced to provide you all services without getting the information that they need to get from you is very difficult because this is intrusion into private corporation activities. So this question is quite complicated. If you want to use Facebook, you have to compromise. As any free platform, it cannot be completely free. So you have to make your own decision what you can sacrifice to use the service or not to use it at all. Of course, when we are talking about such big services as Facebook, there are regulations which provide more protection for users, protection of the private life, but it is impossible to avoid Facebook following all of your actions because this is their business model. This is the basis of their activities as a corporation. So the choice in this case is yours. The next question: what responsibility can a person? The question is basically about phishing. When a person gets illegal access to profile, yes. Well, yes, as of now, we have criminal responsibility for that. There are 2 articles which are related to the illegal intrusion into computing machines. And there are, it might even lead to prison sentences. There is also article number 182 about intrusion to private life of human beings, and there is a serious criminal responsibility. This is exactly what we're talking about. There are some difficulties when using such actions because you need to have a lot of relevant technical expertise to understand who intruded into your private information. There are questions in the aspect of trying to investigate those crimes because it's not very efficient. As a laboratory of digital protection security, we're working with NGOs, with journalists, investigative journalists, within the context
You are now muted.
Мене чутно, так? Ви мене бачите, чуєте, все добре, так?
Yes. We can hear you well also. I'm trying to share a presentation.
Я намагаюся вивести на екран вашу презентацію. Одну хвилинку. А зараз я хочу подякувати вам за можливість взяти участь у цьому форумі. Для мене надзвичайно велика честь поділитися з вами моїми знаннями. Я спостерігала за усіма заявами уряду, і я хочу поділитися з вами кількома статтями, кількома лінками про те, як уряд слідкує за нашою діяльністю, як уряд порушує права громадян, наприклад, яким чином уряд відстежує громадян і таке інше. Але моя презентація стосується корпоративного використання інтернету, стосується того, як корпорації, такі як Google, Яндекс та інші, використовують інтернет. І що за цим усім стоїть? Поки презентація виводиться на екран.
We may actually, okay. Oh. Yeah. Okay, perfect. Thank you so much.
Чудово, дуже дякую.
So, tracking the untracked, all right?
Отже, відстеження на відстежуваного. Ідея полягає в тому, чи компанії дійсно можуть відстежувати нас, стежити за нами, чи не можуть цього робити.
Inside out.
І насправді мотивація всередині нас. В чому полягає реальна цінність усіх тих додатків, які у нас є? Отже, можете розпочинати презентацію. Наступний слайд. Отже, уявіть собі, подумайте про те, як багато девайсів, як багато гаджетів у вас удома. І кожен із них просить під'єднати його до одного і того самого мейла, до одного і того самого аккаунта, для того, щоб ви могли слухати музику. Кожен девайс, який ви використовуєте, дуже легко працює. Вони хочуть знати вас, знати про вас. Вони хочуть передбачати ваші інтереси, надавати вам рекомендації. Вони намагаються зробити це якнайкраще, щоб надавати вам якнайкращі послуги. І ми, звісно, їм за це вдячні. Дуже дякую, це все дуже чудово, але ж що стоїть за усім цим, за усіма цими послугами? І це саме те, що показала пандемія ковіду. Ми бачимо, що ці додатки роблять усе можливе для того, щоб відстежувати ваше пересування. Будь ласка, наступний слайд. Ви навіть не уявляєте, які дані можна отримати із вашого користування різними застосунками. Тобто є застосунки, які рахують, скільки ви пройшли кроків, який ваш пульс, який ваш тиск. Насправді можна відслідковувати абсолютно все. Більше того, ці застосунки можуть це передбачати, і вони не завжди потребують вашого погодження, вашої згоди. Було проведене дослідження, в рамках якого люди відповіли на низку запитань. І завдяки цій моделі машинного навчання ці застосунки можуть передбачати ваші дії, ваші думки. І тому важко уявити, скільки інформації про вас можуть отримати ці компанії. Отже, яким чином компанії справляються з усім цим? Перейдемо до наступного слайду. Я хочу звернути вашу увагу на ініціативи. Просто подивіться на цю табличку.
changes of how
Просто подивіться, наскільки активні люди в різних країнах, так, ми бачимо. Отже, тут, що ви бачите, фактично це, що у Франції, це зелена лінія, така, бачите, а Україна в нас оранжевою, помаранчевою лінією позначено. Бачите, що тут протягом року українці ходили більше, ніж французи. От цікаво так. І наступний, трішки мають на увазі, і наступне, той же самий фокус, майже той же момент, що жовтий в нас, жовта така лінія, кольору гірчиці, це Гонконг, Німеччина зелений, бачите, що в Гонконгу не такі активні люди були. Тобто в них були там, я так думаю, жорсткіші обмеження, пов'язані з карантином, і люди сиділи вдома дійсно, в буквальному значенні цього слова. І це показує, наскільки було населення Німеччини та Гонконгу активним під час саме ось цих обмежень. Будь ласка. Ми бачимо графік. Це вже в нас США. І отже, в нас водіння автомобіля і водіння пішки. Тут фактично майже те саме. Це графік з інформацією зібраною за рік. Ви бачите, з січня. В квітні було падіння, це зрозуміло. Зараз влітку вже повернулися люди до активності своєї. І, власне, уряд все одно продовжує зараз сильно обмеження, заохочує людей сидіти вдома. Як ми це знаємо? Дуже просто. Я позбирав ці дані, можете піти на цей веб-сайт, який позначений на графіку. Бачите, COVID-19, Mobility. Можете побачити і свої дані, слідкування за січня, можливо, зараз все зафіксовано. Ви тут бачите базову лінію, вона в нас є посередині, і зміну руху, зміну активності. Отже, ви бачите, так? Протягом тижня, що активність піднімається, потім на вихідних вона знижується, тому що люди вирішують сидіти вдома, але загалом все виглядає таким чином. Можете відслідковувати на цьому веб-сайті інформацію, просто щоб бачити. Ага, дивіться, якщо мої дані, якщо у вас є iPhone чи Apple Watch, ну, взагалі ви ділитеся автоматично даними. Це те, що вони дають. Але в них, це лише те, що вони дають, нам діляться, публікують, але в них багато більше інформації. Давайте наступний слайд. Угу. Дивіться. Зараз ми йдемо до вже етичних питань, наближаємося. Вони святкової дійсності. Якщо в них є така влада, так повноваження. Відповідь. Вони нам надають послуги, так, фактично. Тобто, це така система цифрових рекомендацій, однак ціна за їхні рекомендації, що ж, чи взагалі це релевантно, чи немає сенсу, це пропорційно, що ми даємо згоду, взагалі, щоб нас відслідковували. Ну, якщо найкраще маршрут у нас, і це питання, на яке треба відповідати самостійно нам всім. Думати, що ж взагалі відбувається Отже, корпорації та уряди, вони зараз розробляють такі стосунки, трекери, відповідні саме, так. Кожна країна рішення, виставляє такі тендери, оголошує для приватних компаній, щоб вони розробляли такі застосунки, програми забезпечення. Подумайте, люди, щоб люди розуміли, чи є хтось поряд хворий навіть. Ви бачите, з Мумбаю такий застосунок у нас. Австралія і також Австрія. Кожна країна має фактично і офіційний застосунок. Ну, це не обов'язково, звісно, це не закріплено в законодавстві, але дуже сильно промотуються такі речі, дуже сильно заохочуються уряди. Вони хочуть, щоб ми, власне, встановлювали такі застосунки в свої телефони, девайси, і щоб нас відслідковували. Думаємо. Що нам говорять? Тобто буде знати, чи хтось є фактично. Перше, зараз ви не можете вийти з дому вже без смартфону, ну, це вже дивно. Друге, Не довіряйте людям більше взагалі нікому навколо себе. І якщо хтось хворий, ну, краще нехай лишається дійсно вдома і не ходить на якісь заходи, але те, що вони говорять, от, власне. Це застосунок, який робить так, щоб вам було безпечно. То зараз накладається, формується інший менталітет. Ви вже нікому не вірите. Немає довіри людям. Ви очікуєте, що спочатку саме поділяться даними, потім ви будете говорити з людиною. Ми бачимо, що соціальна довіра, вона руйнується. Ви не бачите ніякого зв'язку такого між особистісного людського. Люди дивляться свої телефони, намагаються сказати, що Боже, мені добре, я в безпеці, перевірити. І життя навколо нас змінюється. Точне питання. Треба думати про зараз. Цього року лише розроблені ці стосунки. Це не щось, мабуть, з минулого ми домовились, фактично, що будемо так слідкувати ці дані. Ми не довіряємо людей, ми хочемо себе обезпечити. Можливо, хтось проходить зараз тест, виходить або позитивний, або негативний тест. І це дуже важливе саме це питання. Ми можемо делегувати ці питання соціальної довіри саме застосункам та цифровому середовищу, які фактично вираховують цю ймовірність, так, і нам говорять, чи безпечно, чи. Знову ж таки, думаючи про те, як ця взаємодія вибудовуватися за допомогою цих застосунків, це питання, на яке треба відповісти. І, власне, на так розробляти ці рішення, ці відповіді і передавати їх уряду. Тут який є момент ще цікавий? Ну, не втрачати ці можливості, звісно, бо інакше. Але з іншого боку, ми все одно можемо стати занадто залежними від цих застосунків. Розумієте, ніхто від них не має відмовлятися, але тим не менше треба в рабство йти фактично, так, до цифрових технологій. Останній слайд. Один у нас здається. Повертаючись до назви нашої презентації, відслідкувати те, що відслідкувати не можна. Тобто є речі, які відслідкувати дійсно неможливо всередині. І я вірю. Ну, взагалі не може такого бути, щоб застосунок мотивацію відслідкував, щоб ми вірили людям чи ні. Звичайно, нашу мотивацію пробують відслідкувати, якось зафіксувати, нашу надійність фактично, мова йде про це. Критість і так далі. Але це не є добре. Ця тенденція, що зараз відбувається у світі, що такі соціальні рухи навіть вже активні, наприклад, проти 5G технології. Дуже сумнівні в них канали, звісно, і програма, але тим не менше вони проти того, щоб використовувати смартфони. Ну, в них такі стандартні телефони мобільні, без під'єднання до інтернету, вони вводять, власне, що це небезпечно до інтернету. І наступний слайд. Що хочу сказати наостанок. Отже, яке питання в нас людства зараз? Як переконатися, що ми люди, в першу чергу, а не юзери, користувачі. І зрозуміло, що працюють великі корпорації. Сприймають або ж як IT, або як окремі такі окремі ідентифікаційні одиниці, або ж як споживачів. або як якусь категорію типу жінки до 20 років, чи чоловіки до 30. Це ментальність якась така. Це проблемна ментальність. Чи ми хочемо йти в це чи ні, це етичне питання. Чи ми хочемо залізати в систему, бути частиною, дуже важко відповісти. Це питання, і дійсно одного разу подумати, чи ви згодом на те, що поділитися даними, і чим ви ділитеся? Тому що отже, власне, над цим треба думати, ну, звісно, не просто думати, а ще й діяти. Ну, у нас є смарт-годинники і смартфони. Це не то, нам краще життя, навіщо, щоб просто використовуємо щодня, не задумуємося на буде нас. До мене, що мені цікаво запитати, це мене обличчя. Теми, і так наші навіть часто от навіть відкривати дивитися важно таких інструментів. Дякую. Це дійсно дуже важливо і добре, що ви про це згадали. Так, розпізнання обличчя сьогодні і те, що роблять компанії, з того, що я знаю. Тому що зараз з корпоративної структури це оцінюю. Є певні ініціативи, які спрямують те, щоб перестати використовувати великими компаніями, такими як Sony, систему розпізнання обличчя, ми вирішили не ритми, тому що ми втрачаємо нашу ідентичність, так, соціальну там. Я не використовую саме розпізнання обличчя, тому що з мене інформацію знімають. Так, таким чином я не можу це контролювати і якщо там жестами треба відкривати, чи якимись цифрами. Ну, цифрами ще окей, так, якимись фігурами я можу якось там пам'ять свою тренувати, непогано. Але мені незручно, коли мова йде вже про розпізнання обличчя. Коли тебе ідентифікують, це ти не можеш контролювати. От готувалася до презентації, і я думала про те, як люди взагалі з цим працюють. Наприклад,
яким чином отримати інформацію, усі ці хитрощі, які не всі могли визначити. Зараз це неможливо. З точки зору безпеки це добре, але з точки зору соціальної ми бачимо, що відчувається, ніби ми втрачаємо контроль за нашою ідентичністю. І я би сказала, це робить нас чутливими, вразливими, тому що ці алгоритми були створені для нас, не навпаки. А зараз здається, що все перевертається з ніг на голову, і нам потрібно прилаштовуватися до роботи цих алгоритмів. Зараз, наприклад, коли ви розблоковуєте телефон, ви повинні або одягти окуляри, якщо ви їх зазвичай одягаєте, або зняти капелюха. Алгоритми змушують вас робити все це, а не навпаки, як це було на самому початку. І це та річ, яку важко зрозуміти зараз, тому що з точки зору перспективи. Але історія продовжується, і через 1 рік деякі речі можуть змінитися. І ми зможемо робити ті чи інші речі, тому що алгоритми нас просять їх робити. В цьому полягає небезпека. Наприклад, ви не можете покинути свій будинок без смартфона, тому що ви там отримуєте статистику про ковід, про позитивні випадки ковіду, і це той соціальний контракт, на який ми підписалися на початку пандемії, коли ми почали жити в місті. Це особиста соціальна відповідальність. Але якщо ви перекидаєте цю відповідальність на алгоритми, тоді вони перебирають на себе увесь контроль. І в цьому і полягає небезпека. Алгоритм сам по собі може визначити не лише ваше обличчя, може відслідковувати ваші рухи, але небезпека полягає в тому, що він буде просити вас повторювати ті самі рухи чи ті самі речі, якщо навіть ви не хочете. Ви повинні будете робити ту чи іншу річ. І в цьому полягає небезпека усього цього, яка постала перед усіма нами. Так, дійсно цікава точка зору. І знаєте, ми живемо в такому світі, в такому незвичайному сучасному світі. У нас купа гаджетів, купа девайсів, які визначають наше життя. І таким чином, можливо, у мене ще одне питання до вас. Як ви думаєте, яке майбутнє цих технологій? Чи будуть вони розвиватися? Чи будуть вони більш розумнішими, якщо можна так сказати? І в чому полягає небезпека для усіх користувачів? Як ви думаєте, можливо, ми будемо жити у світі, схожим на серіал «Чорне дзеркало»? Як ви думаєте, яким буде наше майбутнє з усіма цими розумними технологіями? Хороше запитання, дуже відкрите запитання. І водночас ми повинні розуміти, що ми громадянське суспільство, і ми маємо можливість визначати наше майбутнє. Тобто не лише чекати, що запропонують нам Apple чи інші корпорації, що вони презентують нам, чи ми не мусимо чекати на нові закони від уряду. Це наша задача, наша ініціатива як громадянського суспільства сказати, що ми не погоджуємося із ситуацією, що склалася, і що ми б хотіли мати, наприклад, певні обмеження на збір даних в певних індустріях. Наприклад, якщо ми розглядаємо такі індустрії, як мода, чому ми отримуємо рекомендації про те, що носити? Для чого нам надавати свої дані? Вам дають право вибирати якийсь одяг, тому що це мода, так? Але мода – це насправді можливість визначати наш внутрішній світ. І коли ми обираємо одяг, ми таким чином розкриваємо свій внутрішній світ. Ще один приклад, наприклад, у споживчих товарах. Вони відслідковують, наприклад, як ми обираємо зубну пасту, обираємо ми її чи ні. З точки зору майбутнього я переконана, що ми будемо визначати це майбутнє. Наприклад, після конференції ми зможемо зазначити нашу позицію урядам чи корпораціям про те, що ми не погоджуємося, щоб за нами стежили у певних сферах, у певних галузях життя. Це наше бажання, як розпоряджатися нашою особистою інформацією. Тому що, звісно, я хочу почуватися безпечною, наприклад, в аеропорту. І я не проти, щоб за мною стежили там, тому що інакше це небезпечно. Я дійсно хотіла відповісти на це запитання якось конкретніше. Це наше завдання, наша місія – формувати це майбутнє і не давати іншим визначати його, або не чекати, поки це жахливе майбутнє з чорного дзеркала стане реальністю.
Thank you very much.
Дуже дякую, Юлія. Нам дійсно дуже важливо те, що ви робите для нас, і дуже дякуємо за те, що ви поділилися своїм досвідом і своєю цікавою точкою зору на цю тему. Дуже дякую. Якщо у інших учасників є якісь запитання, або, можливо, хтось хоче поділитися з нами своєю точкою зору, то, будь ласка, пишіть у чат. Я бачу лише багато подяк у чаті. Так. Дуже дякую вам за це. Якщо у вас виникатимуть запитання зараз чи пізніше, будь ласка, надсилайте їх, ми перейшлемо їх Юлії, і ми зможемо обговорити їх пізніше. Дякую.
Ще раз дуже подякую.
Once again, thanks, Julia. This is a topic that is not widely discussed right now because we really use different gadgets, different technologies, different devices. So probably we need to be more responsible to what kind of access we give to those applications when we use different devices and gadgets. And then I would like to give word to our next speaker, but before I suggest we make a short break to be able to relax just a little bit, to drink water or coffee or just have a little rest. So I'll see you in 5 minutes here and we will continue our discussion, our forum.
Чути і ви бачите чат, так будемо розуміти, чи до нас чудово. Крім того, я хотіла нагадати, якщо у вас є питання до того чи іншого спікеру, будь ласка, напишіть або в чат, або напишіть на той email, який на ту електронну пошту, з якої ви сьогодні отримали і вчора інформацію стосовно підключення. Ми обов'язково зробимо всі ваші питання по відповідному спікеру, і відповідно після того ми розповідаємо з вашими питаннями і відповідами спікерів. Таким чином ми зможемо продовжити такі комунікацію між нами. І захочу кожного з вас брати участь в питання і висловлювати свої думки, щоб всі дійсно чули наш голос молоді. Отже, продовжуємо. На даний момент я хотіла б представити нашу наступну спікеру. Це Анастасія Ткачук. Анастасія вже третій форум на
IG.
Радує своїми виступами. Анастасія також бере вже в принципі в житті молоді. Минулого року вона розповідала на форумі блокчейну і як він впливає на нас, як він пов'язаний з нашим життям. Я думаю, що і цього року тема буде не менш цікавою. Якщо ви мене чуєте,
Анастасія,
і будемо починати ваш виступ.
So I think we're ready to pass the floor to you. Okay.
Привіт.
Hi everyone.
Знайомитись.
Let's meet each other.
Я з вами вже так зустрічалася одного разу. Я розповідала про блокчейн-технології. Сподіваюсь, мене добре чути, якщо ні, пишіть. Говорити сьогодні коротко, швидко, тому що ще одна конференція.
I have another conference.
Вам сьогодні буде такий контент.
I will be a little bit more entertaining.
Віртуальних валют в Україні, про його початок, як збирається регулювати. І поясниться, як розумно почати їм користуватися, але не потрапити на
Start using it. So how to
зустрічалися. Я ще говорила, я показувала про деякі
So you now have the excellent opportunity to share this information with us or ask your questions to the experts. If it's not comfortable for you to turn on the mic, please write your questions or your stories in the chat, and we will read them aloud later. And now I see that we have Anastasia back. Nastya, please try to say us something so we can check whether we can hear you. Can you hear me well? Is it okay now? Yes, now everything is fine. We can hear you. Please write in the chat whether you hear Nastya. So just great, Nastya, please. The floor is yours. Okay, let me describe the situation once again. When a person starts working with accounts on cryptocurrencies, exchanges, they need to verify the account because a lot of people confront these problems. Scammers know this and they use the situation. I've also told you that with card data, it is very necessary to behave very importantly. As for the websites of silent purchase, if we can share this information online, then it can be used by other people. We shall also protect our personal data, such as login and password. We don't need to share photos with our passport data, with our driver's license data. People don't think about it usually. I'm not talking about sharing this information online. For example, if a person writes to you, representative of a company that you trust, and you send a photo of your passport, so the account is created quickly and you can use the platform. And it is a problem because the market of cryptocurrencies is regulated as any other financial corporation. It is regulated by international laws such as law or the money laundering law, anti-money laundering law. It is also stipulated in the draft law on virtual assets in Ukraine. It is also written in the chapter 3, paragraph 2, about participants of the market of cryptocurrencies. It is written that during operations with crypto assets, players in the market shall stick to this rule. The anti-money laundering law is an international law. It has 5 directives, according to which financial institutions of any type, banks, international institutions, and any other payment systems have to follow all operations of their clients to prevent and to be sure that they don't take part in terrorism, in financing arms trafficking or money laundering in any way. When the head of the cryptocurrency exchange or head of the bank sees suspicious activity on your account, they tells about it to you and asks you for documentation. As usual, cryptocurrency exchanges ask to provide a photo with a card to prove the source of your income. The simplest thing, they may ask you a photo with a password. If there is suspicious activity on your account, you can send a photo with your passport via chats, via different communication platforms, and this information can be easily used by other people. So don't do that. When you start using a platform, cryptocurrency exchange or any other platform of silent purchase of goods and services, or if it is a popular platform with free courses for students, never share your or information in unofficial channels of communication. You can find official channels of communication where you can check whether you can be asked such data. You can ask official representatives whether such a person works at the company. Don't hesitate to verify this information. So when you start working with different platforms, don't share your information everywhere. It's easy to understand, isn't it? As for the activities in the cryptocurrency sphere, it is similar to big investors' activities. When there is a new currency, and now it is easy to do, when there is a new currency, it is suggested to use real money, hryvnias or dollars, to buy currency which is new to the market, and they promise that it will the price of this currency will increase and you will get money later. This scheme is normal, it's not illegal. It is popular now because blockchain technologies are now very well developed. So you can create your own cryptocurrency using a code. You need to add several technical details, and you will have your own currency. But actors use these. Unfortunately, they create a currency which is not needed on the market, or they create a fake currency which doesn't exist at all. And here we can back to our draft law, which stipulates that every market player has to get acquainted with also technical peculiarities of virtual currency and virtual markets. Big investors often fall into this trap of initial coin offerings. So this is before the offering of a new currency. They invest their money, and then it turns out that this currency doesn't exist at all, and nobody will give you the money back. You always have to check this project, its practical significance on the market, and to check if it is real. There shall be a white paper documentation where all the peculiarities of these assets are written. It will take from 10 to 20 minutes of your time, and it will save you from spending a lot of money. Anastasia, we no longer hear you, unfortunately. Please write in the chat if you hear us. Can you hear me? Yes. Unfortunately, I have to run to another conference, so let me wrap up. So if you're interested, in Ukraine, we are financed by association that takes part in all activities related to blockchain and to cryptocurrencies. You can visit their websites. There are lots of useful articles and materials there. They have their own blockchain school where they teach students to develop their own blockchain networks. They take an active part in developing this draft law of Ukraine on virtual assets, and they offer a lot of free conferences online in Kyiv and international conferences related to blockchain technologies. So please, if you have any questions, please write down in the chat or write to Lera, and I will be happy to answer in written form. Anastasia, thanks so much for the information. Unfortunately, because of the technical difficulties, we had several problems. I will ask you to share your presentation. And if you don't mind, of course, we will send this presentation with our participants so they can see and they can follow your way of thoughts if they want to get acquainted with this topic. Moreover, dear participants, let me remind you that you can send your questions to me or in the chat. After that, we will share our answers, the answers of our speakers to your questions. Thanks a lot. And now I would like to proceed to the next speaker. We will have a bit of a change in our program. At 12, we wanted to start energy efficiency and smart technology topic. How can it be related to internet.
Хотіли б на даний час
But we would like to give the floor to our colleague from Pravosud, our colleague Ida Pravosud, who will tell us about such an interesting topic, about cybersecurity. The relative questions that you asked, that you shared, these questions were related to cybersecurity, and it is really one of the most important elements that we face every day. How we live in this world, what does cybersecurity imply? So now I would like to give the word to Ilya Pravosud. He will share with us his experience and his knowledge about cybersecurity from Ukraine's youth view. So the floor is yours, Ilya. Good afternoon, dear participants. Can you hear me well? Yes, we do. So this is the third time that I take part in this Internet Governance Forum. This is an exciting and very instructive event. Today I would like to share with you results of a survey of research on cybersecurity from Ukraine's youth point of view. Just a second, I need to upload my presentation. If you need any help, please tell me. I will help you with the presentation and I will share it on the screen. Okay?
Okay. So I'm trying to upload the presentation. So we had this research launched by the European Media Platform Organization. And the aim of this research was actually to determine the most popular, the most widespread cyber threat Ukrainian teenagers to face, to suffer from, whether the teens have actually tools to combat these threats. So, research. On the presentation, I'm putting it. I don't see it. We actually can see it to right to the chat presentation if you can clearly see it. It's actually uploading it. We can see it. You can switch back and forth because I don't see the presentation. Sorry. So I will go with the plan, stick to the agenda, and try to up. So we had 3 stages. So questionnaires, 17. So we have deep on cybersecurity. So research participants of the webinar. We also have the total number of participants, approximately 1,300. even recognize or understand that they have become victims of certain threats, they became participants certain processes, but they were suffering from it, so they simply did not recognize. Also, the most widespread threats are viruses, fraud, piracy, widespread, we can say, you actually can on ourselves and run about it. Whole widespread DDoS attacks, robbery, digital robbery, bullying, child abuse. So, other threats are less widespread, and actually can lead to more serious consequences. Well, when click some links, when you try to register elsewhere, please be very careful. Whether the website is official or you're trying to do this, try to understand, like, are you doing everything in the most proper and careful way? Just ensure your safety first. And also, in separate cases, uh, respondents, they're here for you to mine the Bitcoin. Cyber terrorism, these are very serious problems, and young people actually suffered from this, not for any help, any support. Actually, did not ask for any help, and we, of course, fewer, 36% of teachers, they did not ask anyone for help. Almost half of people, they told that not any kind of problem. If we just leave it out of our attention, if we not take it as a serious thing, actually, this would stay a problem, and there will be no solution for it. And we will take it seriously as it should be. And those who ask for help, they affect cases. Ask their friends help. With our friends who actually have these consequences themselves, or they were involved in certain situations, or involved in, or they face you their parents, and actually went to their IT services. First of all, situation not have girls or all day to support people. And that such times people were happening actually to avoid the in places in future. Would like to get more and don't know. So yeah, tools. There's not enough on where, how, and what to be done. Actually found yourself matter. us today, and I can stay to it, but I guess not properly. Yeah. Primary source of information on social media. Social media is sources. A lot of fake news and for the social media index. And concerning use of social media, 50% they still continue using of contact. But yes, we do definitely have the users never choose, and people pick the alternative way of communication. Two conclusions and recommendations of the day. We have this different hotline for teens and for children where you can easily refer to and request certain help. Well, we have this service, but we have only one organization. They have this special line. You can access it there, but people don't think about it. It's very low, as I mentioned before. The majority of students had needed help. They did not refer to what we need to do. Where can we find solutions? Well, as much as we can on existence of this hotline. And what we need to do is not only one stakeholder involved in that, but of course, we need to have this multi-aspect approach to involve all the aspects of the government. So, I mean, the civil society, there, the government, private organizations, companies, law enforcement, and all should actually be there in this process, and they must be actively involved. Experts always lack information about the cyber threat, which we need to develop the risk model and rhythm of cybersecurity monitoring for young people. So again, we need to have full involvement and joint effort on business, civic society, and first involved youth. We need to have this multi-dimensional approach here. Their Facebook page or like information about this organization help you if something happens, if you find yourself in this situation, if you do feel that certain threat is there when you are searching. Of course, such surveys we need to have surveys as well to understand what is unclear, what should be explained additionally to people. But at what proper people definitely that. On the basis of that, to models, information, expert measures to reduce the level of vulnerability and actually illegal software. We all suffer at risk. But I think we find fake news there. And young people still are not aware, this is my opinion, but we're not very capable of actually filtering the kind of information and easily take them and disseminate information further. So this is and this is also a serious threat problem. So use of Russian websites. Inventory on the risks of use, spreading from use of social media and illegal software. To explain people, social security, educational area experts, staff, people. So cyber threats and how to develop a state program and measures and or which we didn't understand what exactly and it must be supported by experts. Doing their efforts to what they should do themselves. So I can actually finish the results of this. Very, very not enough is done to improve the situation. We need so actually what I see to this event.
This was a very interesting event, and let me draw your attention to those problems that we confront every day. Ilya, thank you so much for your presentation. Such research is very excellent, and it seems to me that this is the topic that we could discuss right now. Dear participants, maybe you have any questions, maybe you would like to share your experience. Is there really such a problem for us, for each of you, that you feel yourself insecure, that you feel that you lack information provided, or maybe you wanted to take part in information campaign? So in your opinion, what is needed to be done so you can feel more protected? And I can ask the same question to Ilya. How do you think, what in your opinion is the priority to raise awareness in relation to cybersecurity, especially for young people? What have we to do to make it more developed, to feel more secure and confident? In my opinion, what we lack now is interest from the point of view of the youth. We need to explain them why it is important. We need to understand why they need to be interested in it, why it is serious, and why it might be a serious problem for them personally. If you are not educated in a question, if you don't know how things work, then of course you need to understand how to do that. And if you cannot do it on your own, if it is difficult or complicated for you to understand how to behave on the internet and on which links you shouldn't click, then there shall be forums. We shall create different groups, email newsletters, which will prevent possible problems and dangers and risks that we can run on the internet. All of these needs to be, we need to talk about all of it. We need to raise awareness, we need to follow the developments, we need to follow the new risks and dangers that we might face. So, for example, if you understand what kind of problems you might have, you will understand how to save yourself from those dangers. Thank you so much for your answer. It seems to me that this is a proper approach. But I would like to ask you once again, or probably to ask you to continue your thought. You mentioned that a work shall be done, that forums shall be held, groups shall be created, and so on and so forth. So in your opinion, for our participants, we will be happy if you share your experience as well. In your opinion, who is responsible for this process? Shall it be the initiative of the users, or maybe shall it be the key task implemented by the state authorities, or NGOs, civil society organizations, representative of the business and private sector? How do you think? Who shall be leading this process? And should there be a leader? Or probably there shall be an initiator of this process. So in your opinion, what could contribute to this process? I didn't tell you about multi-stakeholders, but I mean involvement of all stakeholder groups to solving an issue, to addressing an issue, or developing a process. We need to involve not only 1, 2, or 3 groups of stakeholders. We need to engage all the private sector. We need to engage civil society organizations. We need to engage youth, young people. This is what we are trying to do right now. We want to target youth as a separate group. We need to engage different expert groups. We need there shall be actions on behalf of the state. If a group of people doesn't want to pay attention to this question, then there won't be, then the effect will be much weaker. The best is to involve everyone. This regulation process shall involve all the stakeholders. There shall be a discussion with all the participants, well, in my personal opinion. Thank you so much. We have a comment from Kirill Ostapets. So I think that the state shall take the lead. The state shall create different groups for countering to following cybersecurity. Thank you so much for such a comment. What I would like to add to this question is that, in my opinion, All of us, we are initiators. We think about how we can help in some questions, how we can become part of this process. But we need to understand that we can use all that surrounds us. Because we have representatives of student community, you can share, you can use your internal resources of your university, for example. If you don't have a group that is ready to spread information about how to protect yourself on the internet, you can become the initiative group. You can engage as many people as possible. And we shall think whether we can help the state. We need to show the state that it shall be the priority of the state. It shall be on the agenda of the state, because all that surrounds us is related to the internet. We've already discussed blockchain technologies, and in general, our rights, our human rights, our rights and responsibilities online, about cyber education, about the fact that this education lacks among the population. That is why I hope that we will finally come to this, and we hope that the next research, next surveys will have more results, will provide results which are relevant to development in the direction of a paperless state. Thanks once again to everyone. Thanks for your comments. If you have any thoughts on this, please do share them in the chat box, because this is how we shape our questions. This is how we inform everyone about the topics that are very important. As of now, I would like to give the floor to Vita. Vita, can you please tell us, can you hear us? Is everything okay? And we would like you to continue the topic that you started to discuss. I also see a comment that the state doesn't only have to fight cyber crimes, but also create programs for development of digital literacy, for development for the citizens. I do agree with you, because when we have this balance between different representatives of various groups, we can reach this point where everyone will feel themselves secure and protected, where everyone will feel well. Yes, thank you so much. It was a short comment. What I wanted to say is that the state shall not only respond to cyber attacks that have happened already, or investigate them, or prevent them, but the state shall to assume the responsibility to educate the population that every single person can prevent such crimes from happening and protect their personal data and information. But I would also like to add, in the chat there was a question before about who is responsible for protection of security of personal information in the internet. I would like to tell to all the participants, the protection of rights of the users shall be part of the daily work of every state institutions. For example, the government, when it makes decisions, they need to evaluate those initiatives and think whether these initiatives doesn't infringe human rights. If we are talking about violations, every citizens have the right to reach out to the commissioner of the human rights in Ukraine. They can complain to this office. They can tell about the violations that have happened, especially just related to the right to privacy. Within the structure of the commissioner, there is a unit which is responsible for complaints of the citizens, complaints about infringement of personal data. And of course, if we are talking about those rights, those crimes which are related to hacking of accounts, with getting access to email account, in such cases, you can reach out to the police, so the police investigates such crimes. For example, if you remember, recently there was a Telegram channel which shared personal data of Ukrainians, where you could write and could write into this channel and get all the information you needed in addition to the open data. In addition, you could get confidential information, which was an obvious infringement of the law. This is a crime that is under the responsibility of the police of Ukraine. Thanks a lot, Vita. I see a question in the chat. Let me read it out now. So the question is, can teachers, can professors during education force students to switch on their cameras? So this is a very relevant question to the current conditions. Thank you. It is a good question indeed. I also had a discussion with this participant who asked us this question. Well, this issue is not regulated by the state. It is impossible to find a concrete phrase which says that it is forbidden or not. It is impossible. That is why we need to take into account concrete conditions and to find the balance between the protection of privacy and educational process. For example, in the classroom, you have to be present and you need to be seen. So the teachers think that the lesson is held online. They also have to see their students. But because the students are at home, or probably they don't have enough material equipment to provide high quality access to internet with videos, probably they don't have a high quality camera, or probably they have one room flat and parents or siblings are in the same room. And when you turn on the webcam, you violate the privacy of the student and you intrude into the privacy of other members of his or her family. In such a case, we need to find balance, and teachers can check the presence of the students during the lesson, or probably this can be pop-up messages in Zoom or other platforms.
And they just need to put in sticks saying that yes, we're here and we're like, and that the student checks the screen, we may have certain symbol or just actually requesting that no one is trying to use some forbidden resources. So if the student does not have this opportunity to turn on the web camera or to actually have access to this kind of time, there will be certain discrimination. Certain discrimination may arise, but you don't have this opportunity, you are quite limited to exercise your right to education. In this case, of course, it may be a violation, and we need to look for some alternative ways, alternative tasks, alternative exam formats, or it may be to talk to school administrator. So requires some conversation with the education, some application submitted, for example, to send requests to provide means or tools for remote studying, like phones or something else. That's not the solution, but anyway, there must be a way to provide some tools for students involved in the education process in certain format. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you for your question. I really appreciate it. I do think that, as you noted, we may use other opportunities to provide us other alternatives and to create something new. And it's important to raise the awareness of people getting it right. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for that. Well, dear participants, dear colleagues, I'd like maybe give us a little bit of rest. So up to 1 p.m. we have a break, and then we will continue. We'll see you. We'll continue our conversation, and if we have some comments or some questions, please write it in the chat. We will definitely consider all your opinions, and we will try to develop this. So at 1 p.m. sharp, we really are waiting for you to come. Thank you. So maybe you had some technical problems. Thank you for actually re-switching back. And other participants as well, we're so glad to have you all here. So we have certain changes in the agenda, unfortunately. Mr. Protopopov is not here with us. He's not connected due to certain problems, certain personal stuff. So unfortunately, we won't have him here today. Right now, those who really would like to share some information have this wonderful opportunity as we have some time captured. So share some impressions, give your friends anything. As far as I understand, as far as I remember, someone wanted actually express one's opinions, and we'll have some conclusions after this, and then we'll discuss some technical details and further steps. You Sergey, tell me, can you actually connect right now and tell us a little bit about what you want to share? So okay, good. We're listening very attentively. If we have this opportunity, if your camera can be turned on, that would be really good, but up to you. So you're free. And so how actually to make use of internet more convenient for elderly. For older people, we start using internet more and more, and we actually do. And we have the pandemic, of course, and the modern technology. So it's very well, of course, because internet is a place where we actually move, or we actually search for some information, look for something, watch movies, and read books. For me, it's a place of entertainment, of some leisure, and also of work. Due to the situation that we have today in the world, many educational establishments start using remote format. Many teachers, they stay at home due to this. Internet becomes more and more significant to all of us. And I think that remote education is really convenient, but basically we don't have this live communication with colleagues, with teachers. Internet, I look for some information I really need to study, or just to find something new, to entertain myself, to communicate with friends, and of course some interesting adventurous videos on YouTube. But our grandmas and grandpas, well, for them it's really hard to understand how it works because they never used to actually do something like that. They never had cell phones, smartphones, or even access to internet. So previously it was like a fairy tale, to people. So we have elderly, those who actually use everything. The internet uses all the news, like Instagram. They even have some active pages there. but quite a limited number of them. And we just need to help the older generation somehow to feel more free in that, because internet is very important today. For example, we can minimize the number of functions in internet. We have to optimize the functions, basic ones, like access to news, for example, access to films and TV shows and soap operas and some messengers, for communication, to have communication with their relatives and friends, and for example, like healthcare facilities. I think that this topic is really important because elderly people are staying mostly at home. They are quite vulnerable. For them, it's really too hard to see their relatives even sometimes. So we need to help them actually to stay on the track. And what can we do to make internet more convenient for our grandmas and grandpas? Well, basically, that's it. Thank you for your attention. I have a question. Is it possible for me to go out because I have some things to do, and when I will be able to get the certificate? And thank you so much for your opinion. You can actually, let's see if you do have business elsewhere. Concerning the certificates and information, I'll actually tell you more about this, but if you don't have memory how to say, this information will be then sent again in the letter. You will all receive it your emails to all registered participants. So thank you again for your input. And I truly think that access to internet and digital awareness, digital literacy, it's not only about youth today. You know, every person living on this planet should be aware of how to use it. We all must actually do everything to reach this goal, actually, to make all our relatives, even the oldest ones, fully aware of how to use that, because during the pandemic, we have so many services that do depend on internet. Someone else would love to share your impressions, or if you do have certain remarks on this discussion, well, you're absolutely welcome. Please raise your hands, somehow indicate your questions, indicate your interest, and we will definitely discuss this. Thank you. Right now, we don't have actually those who would like to present their opinions. Someone's still considering, and they're just trying to I'm brave enough to provide remarks. First of all, I'd like to express gratitude to each of you. Thank you for actually joining us. It is very important because always have to stay together. We need to join, do everything for our voice to be heard. Because we really want the opinion of young people to be taken into account in decision-making process. It's very important to develop internet and everything related to the internet. And I'm really grateful to all of you. I really want to inform you that all the issues that were raised today, all the messages actually we got during the forum, we will actually send it directly to we call them the adult forum. Sorry for saying that, but, you know, the more advanced one. And you actually can join this forum as well, because the topics we'll discuss there, they're also huge interest and very important. And you can express your opinion as well there. As you see it, as a representative of younger generation. So also these messages will be transferred to the global forum IGF. On November 5, it starts, if I'm not mistaken. So it's an honor for me to actually pass all your messages and opinions that we collect from you, the global community, for them to understand that in Ukraine, we truly have this united power. Also, I'd like to express gratitude to our interpreters. So basically, we don't see them, but they actually are a lot of help. But today, I to you for your work, dedication, and for your support. Also, we have organizers, and I'd like to express our gratitude to the organizers. Commission on Science and IGF Ukrainian Union of Industry and Entrepreneurship, and also organization RMCC, and we had Alexei with his welcoming words, and also IGF Supporting Association as well, and the Internet Society. And we'd like to express our gratitude to those organizations for their valuable support, and with their support, we actually have the opportunity to participate today. International Civic Organization, European Media Platform, the National Council of Security Defense of Ukraine, and the Engineering Sciences, and also ICANN, Internet Corporation for names and numbers, and Adamant, of course. I'm grateful to all of you. Okay. So, what else? I promise to bring some conclusions here. I can see we have a comment from Denise Zaidu. It's an important component for each person because it opens a lot of new opportunities as for us to learn. We must teach our grandmas and grandpas, the elderly, and how to use these opportunities. Truly, this is a very good point, I guess. But we are all equal, and we must be and good shoulders from shoulders to support those who are with us, and for those who actually require that help, and our parents, and I guess our relatives need to support.
That by the 28th of November, so during this month, you have the possibility to send to the email your articles so that they would be collected into one collection. And it will be both an electronic version and paper version. So you will have this opportunity because it's a really good one. All the details about the things to have to be shaped, it will be sent after the forum. And if you have some additional questions, please send them. We'll try to include them into one file. So one more time, I would like to thank you all a lot. If you have questions, please write them. If there are no questions, then I would like to thank one more time each and everyone who has joined today. And who told us about their experience and cases. As for the continuation, if there are no more people to participate in the discussion. If there are no representatives of the college who are supposed to deliver today, then I guess then we could finish. So with this information, I will provide probably after the forum, but today. I think that during several hours, I will provide this information. So then again, I would like to also say thank you. Thank you all one more time. Valentin Protopov is going to join us. I mentioned him today, and he's going to mention to bring the topic of energy efficiency. Valentin, I can see that you're here. If you're ready to share your presentation with us, I can see you. Good day. If you are ready, I'll be very thankful and to give floor to you. So greetings to all of the participants of today's forum. So we had our force majeure because we were taking care of the autonomous nature of energy system. And together with our students today, we planned discussions, and the main topic of our part was to be dedicated to the standalone nature, especially about the internet provision. And so very important, so that COVID-19 epidemics has demonstrated very well. So all the systems, or any systems, they can be effective when they are autonomous, when they're standalone systems and then function properly. Because if they're not, they are to be, you know, left unsupervised without control by the man. When it's about the transfer of data or digital economy in our society. That's why we agree with the opinion that autonomous nature and energy efficiency are interrelated, because when we speak about the autonomous nature and energy efficiency of any systems that are connected with digital communication, we are to understand that the main share of these systems lies in their provision. Safety of a person as a user, because at a certain moment the person cannot support it. As for the server rooms to provide internet, I think that for quite a while they are working on its autonomous nature, but to provide them with this, they are planning to install solar stations, solar power plants with a system of accumulation of energy. That's why I think that today a very important component of any technical equipment or of any system, including systems of data transfer, are to be energy independent and standalone. And I'm very convinced on the system of RES is very much needed, because if we install server rooms, if we install control points of networks, then for sure in our today's reality they have to be autonomous. That's why the solar power plant is to be installed, so that any employee because when we speak about the coronavirus epidemiology, we have to know that some, working brigade can't fulfill their work, because it has to be, why are we still speaking about the autonomous nature of any system? Because it has to be minimum intervention from the point of view of the personnel. And if it doesn't matter if it's COVID-19 or COVID-20, people have to go to work, right? And so they have to go to work they have to travel to work. So, and this famous phrase, for people who work in the strategic area, I am deeply convinced that these people, they also need protection, and it's also about their rights. And just because they work, it doesn't mean that the people working in the energy sphere, they are to be at stake. It's about communication, internet, and all about other systems. Speaking about Ukraine, it's very, very relevant, because we have lockdown, we have coronavirus, everything is limited, the transport is restricted or no transport at all, and we can for a while deal in Ukraine with the such a reality where there will be nothing that we can do about it, and that's an important component. As for youth, I'm deeply convinced that if we understand energy efficiency as a very important part of any digital system or communication system, this understanding we have to put into actions. So our managerial future decisions, technical decisions, our own decisions are very important. And it means, what I mean is choosing the renewable sources of energy. So I was late today. So I hope you will all forgive me that. I hope you have already forgiven that. My students have forgiven because they went to their classes. We planned to have the solar PP installed today, actually, on our roof, but that all requires time. I think inseparable part of designing any system for provision of communication or of server rooms has to be with our REST. And it has to be with the understanding of its importance, because I shall be touching a painful topic for Ukraine and for the whole world, because Ukraine is the best example. The nuclear energy is not the best choice, because the Chernobyl power plant was a good example of that. And I would like to emphasize, which is on the website of the nuclear research, that in 17 years, all 15 nuclear power units, they will stop functioning. And because those that were 12 most powerful existing from the Soviet times, they have to be, they have to be stopped to use. And it's very important because it touches all of our system, because in 17 years from now, and most of them by 2029, all the energy balance of the country is going to change. So we will be left off 56% of generation of the electrical energy of Ukraine, without mentioning that even if one energy unit is going to be out of order, that's like $1 billion. But we have 15 such units. Even if those smaller ones will cost less, but given that the Ukrainian budget today is 38 billion, we have to look for the strategic resource. So today I'm thinking that REST is not alternative figuring, but the only possible solution. The example of Germany, 67% of all power generation is renewables. So our communication system also have to be viewed from this point of view. If we want to be equal, if we want to have the possibilities of the Internet of Things or any other ones, any other communication, we have to have the access to internet, and that is energy, but it has to be a renewable energy. If we shall not mention solar generation, then we are to speak about, pumping storage. We are to speak about wind power plants. Even all those obstacles that can be there, like birds, or still they're not comparable. So all these details are to be thought about, and we have to give the possibility to our youth to generate their ideas on this base, and on those processes that give us the access to the internet. Today the students had conversation without me, and unfortunately without our listeners, about opportunities the internet grants. Any business startup that emerges today, because any technological startups, they emerge from the use of some technology, but not of the merging of the new technology. I mean, we all know how to make the mobile app for Android and iOS, but these mobile apps are the most rating startups. Some the cabs or taxi or services of delivery services, they existed due to internet, thanks to internet. Imagine for a minute if the internet wasn't provided. What would we all eat during lockdown? Uber wouldn't bring us something. And I mean, don't mean about only the rental, but also the yellow one. Just imagine, how could we be, how would we exist without all of it? So I'm ready to answer any of your questions. I'm ready to have any discussion as for energy efficiency of digital systems. And sorry one more time for all the inconveniences that I was being late, but that's life. Thank you so much. I would like to ask a question. You know, I thought that after you said that it's RS is not alternative, but the only way of our development, it's not really like a question, but I have the following thing. Which step do you think we are to take? What do we start with? And who do we involve to make it not the only option, but to make it a successful option, the successful path that we will manage to implement in life? Thank you. You know that youth is our future, and they will be dependent upon our decisions. These are very clear things, okay. But I know that the Ministry of Energy, they already conducted energy audits, but they were doing it with, they had no the clear understanding, have clear understanding of power generation and the balance, and there must be clear understanding which objects of infrastructure depend upon nuclear generation the most, and how to provide energy balance. We also have to understand these points and accordingly to build and to use the system of RES. I don't want to mention about play at the market, and everything that we had with the green tariff. That first we had 14 hryvnia, but when the state didn't fulfill its obligations, and the investors who made the investment, we are not going to mention their names. That's a separate topic. But nevertheless, we had these facilities. But then Ukraine says that it's not ready to fulfill its liabilities. Then we have to give 100% guarantees to any investor or to any company who is ready to launch, the RES system. We have to guarantee that we can, protect their rights. And even if we say in the agreement it's going to be 50 cents, then these 50 cents have to remain during all the time that we have, during which our agreement is valid. And then we have to clearly understand and to step by step describe in this region we are to build this megawatt capacity and to provide this amount of energy and so on and so on. So this has to be clearly defined, all these steps, and describe when and which capacities are to be launched. And think about critical infrastructure. So what I mean is providing the main enterprises and to cover to provide everything that concerns our freedom, all the necessary systems.
Well, everything is real. Everything is real. Everything is absolutely real, and it's really good. In Kyiv, we can have renewable energy, and autonomous consumption can be there, and of course, the generation for the networks. So I do think that in Kyiv, it's really possible, and we need to understand that these systems must be combined, of course, comprehensive, not just solar energy, but also other types of energy. And to ensure the energy balance, proper balance for Kiev, and actually for the systems. Thank you so much. As far as I understand, in general, basically, Ukraine has full capacity, full potential to say no non-renewable energy to nuclear energy and just pick fully just the renewable one. Okay, so yes, there are so many solutions, so many solutions. So we're not talking about land plots. We have these floating stations. We can put these in rivers, you know, and the Black Sea and Azov Sea as well, the Equatorium, and wind power stations in those regions where it's not critical. So renewable energy truly it is accessible. It's more efficient. Take, for example, Holland, our neighbor. And Poland also actively tries to involve these renewable energy policies. 35% of all energy balance renewables, but they don't have so many solar panel stations. They don't have these wonderful geographic conditions. So for Ukraine, this is absolutely possible, 100%. Thank you, thank you. I do hope that we will use these opportunities at its fullest. And we will develop in all these areas because actually the issues related to energy and environmental, or something related to environmental, this is something that is really, really important for us. And we've had these fires, you know, this year, so many of. So we need to be very careful with the environment, always. This is the resource that we actually require to live, to actually exist on this planet. And we must be very careful with that. Very responsible. Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much. Maybe someone has questions or anything else, remarks, please. You're absolutely welcome. Okay. If we think about the shift to renewable energy, it's so profitable. Why state power is still opposing this shift? Why do we still use fossil fuels? Well, it's clear to everyone. Thank you for this question, but the answer is clear. I think that power is not opposing or resisting. There's a huge lobby of those who actually make profit on it. So imagine you have your own business, you have your own nuclear power station, okay? Your personal one where you're burning coal or whatever, and you just make your money. And once you just need to build a new object, invest in object, and a lot of movement. So everyone just uses this typical algorithm. Of course, nuclear power stations, we have many of them. It's a huge component in energy balance, but it's a step that we need to take. Many organizations and activists do tell it. Today, we need to clearly understand one thing: the national plan on energy balance. That should be something on the agenda, especially when it comes to nuclear power stations freezing, because up to $1 billion, that's the price. One block only. And this is our safety work. We just need to do it safely. Ensure safety without any consequences. Remember Chernobyl. Not to be in a hurry, because we need to ensure this. And I see it in such a way. Next question, by the way. How the average Ukrainian man may help to ensure this shift? I just want to ask you, in your opinion, we as young people, how we can actually influence this? How can we support our state launch this process and actually to in the same bit? So here, as young people, just two very simple steps. I'm sorry. Well, first step, starting from 2014, we started talking about this energy efficiency. 2014, we launched this conversation. It depends on how much we consume and how rational we consume. The energy balance depends on how much do we need to generate for the state. Well, if, let's say, we are used to the, if we have in all our house and anywhere we have the lights on and we don't regulate it, if we just leave some devices on, we just consume limitlessly, and we need another generation limit. And state recognition, I think, of course, raising awareness, our personal position, or our personal opinion, because the Association of Renewable Energy, they've been talking about this for a long time, and I consider that when we have this law on citizens' power, when we start appointing people or candidates from civic organization, we really want to have this critical mass of pressure on the state. The state will be under this pressure. They will just shift to renewable energy. This must be the request from the society, actually, to the state to ensure this shift. Yes, in our college, we do have programs on renewable energy, comprehensive education, and we provide special knowledge for experts in this area, bachelors. I'm answering another question. If you have a question about the curricula on renewable energy in our colleges, we have these comprehensive curricula and programs related not only to understanding of energy efficiency as it is, but also relevant competencies for the people to individually establish and provide services and ensure technical surveillance and maintenance of renewable energy systems. On our website, you have access to these systems. You can actually to these curriculum, and you can actually go there and see what the renewable energy system is. Thank you so much, because we've already discussed the issue on media literacy and digital literacy, and we have this wonderful example when we can use open sources and study, learn, be a part of the process, and actually influence this process directly. Thank you. Thank you, Valentin, for this really interesting conversation. I do hope that we will use efficiently our sources, and we will definitely use more renewables to stay more eco-friendly. Okay, good. Thank you so much. And I can see that we have Mr. Ivan joining us right now. person. We're so grateful for the opportunity to have this IGF on the move here with us. Last year, joined us. We're so grateful for the support that you actually provide. I'd like to pass the floor to you. Thank you. I'd like to congratulate our community, our friends, our colleagues, everyone watching this today, and all participants. It was a really interesting conversation. I even had the opportunity to listen to some parts with my phone. Really so interesting. The forum is great. And I'd like actually to invite you to the next forum and actually to keep the discussion on the same level about different projects. For this forum that we have launched every year, UN, thanks to the UN Foundation, actually to keep it as a platform of opinions, a platform for opinion exchange, for exchange of ideas. The young people are the active part. They bring their own charge. They actually form the future of our world, and we want them to participate actively in it. So thank you for actually being active, staying active, and thank you for taking part in this very discussion. Thank you, Mr. Ram, for these words. I'd like to remind you that in the next 2 days, we'll have the IGF UA forum where different topics. We're looking forward to have you there as well. Enjoy. Unique opportunity to become a part of this process. Siobhan, thank you again for technical opportunity for the Ukrainian platform we're able to use. Thank you. Come to the first section tomorrow on informational security. I think it will be really interesting. Thank you. Thank you again. My gratitude to all of you. And if you do have some questions or you really want to express, you again can do it. If not, please send your questions later to our email. After the time, we will share the results we discussed together. Thank you for actually being a part of this. And I do really encourage you to be part of this process. I can actually give you some clues on how you can continue. It's really interesting for you to be part of our activities. I'm really grateful to you. I really want you to have a nice day, and bye to you all.